Hey y'all, so I am back with another video, and in this one I'm going to be doing, guess what, another chocolate set. So to start off, I've already done my natural nail prep, and now I'm getting into shaping my tips. So these tips are the No C Curve Clear Coffin tips from Zulays. And since I cut them down, I'm going to come in with my straight edge nail clippers and just barely clip off the edge of those tips. I want these to be narrow, so that's why I'm coming in and taking off just a little. So when it comes to shaping your tips, it's all about lining that tip up with the natural nail. So once I'm done clipping, I'm going to come in with my hand file. And when I say lining it up with the natural nail, when you place the tip on, that portion of the tip, you have it going from sidewall to sidewall. So you shouldn't have any extra tip off of that. It should be even with your sidewall. Now, since I went in and I cut off some of that tip at the edge, now what's left is that piece in the center of the tip. I need to get that straight with the sidewall and then also straight with the cut that I made. So I want everything to come starting from the sidewall to the edge of the tip. I want it to be diagonal and straight. So that's what I'm doing. I'm evening all of this up. When you're doing your filing, it's always good to stop and look. First off, look and see where you need to file. When I first came in with my hand file, I looked at the tip and I saw where the bulk was at. So that is where I started from. And as you're filing, jump back and forth. You don't want to overfile one side, and then when you get to the other side, what you're going to have to do is overfile that one also. So start with one side, file a little bit, and then go to the next side, file a little bit, and then just start going back and forth until they're both even with each other. So after I have filed all of those, the next step is to come in with my sanding band and just flush out where that natural nail meets the tip. I always do this. I do not like to leave any bulk underneath my acrylic, especially those wings of the artificial tip. Those are pretty thick, and when we're applying our acrylic on the sides, we're not applying a lot. So you could possibly thin out that acrylic and all you have left is that bulked up tip. So make sure that you smooth that out. Next, I'm coming in and I'm going to be doing some cuticle work. Now, anytime I'm doing cuticle work, it's always in mind the client that I have. This one, I know she's prone to cuts, bleeding, not very often, but I could just barely come in with the nippers and it could possibly be a cut. So I'm being very careful when I'm working on her. So you have to know your clients and know what and how to use on them. So next I'm going to brush away any dust. You absolutely do not want to leave the nails dusty. And then I'm also going to come in with just a nail brush, spray it with alcohol, and from the back of the nail to the tip, I'm going to scrub those free of any dust that's remaining. And once I have the nails all prepped and cleaned, now I'm going to come in with my dehydrator. This is going to remove any oils that is left on that nail plate. And then I'm going to come in with my primer and prime twice. And this is going to be like our sticky double-sided tape. It's going to make sure that that acrylic adheres to the natural nail. So now I'm coming in, and for my application, this one I'm going to do all clear. And I'm starting off with this one because y'all know I'm starting with fresh monomer and I want the clearest nail that I can possibly have. And you need clean monomer to do that. You also need to burp your brush. Make sure that there's no bubbles left in your brush. And then I'm also picking up a very wet bead. Now, as you can see, I'm kind of just fiddling with the sides. I'm working it down by moving those sides because I don't want to move the product so much on top because that will also create bubbles and you won't get a very clear application from that. So once it starts setting up and drying, then I can really start forming it and moving it. So the most important thing is how you apply your first bead. Apply it wet, let it flow down, and then position it by just working the sides of it. That will help you not put so much air into the bead. So next comes my cuticle bead. Now this one I can't apply so wet because it's back there by the cuticle and you don't want to risk the chance of it falling back there into the skin. So I have it at a medium set and now I am kind of working it. When I'm working over the nail plate, that's okay. Only thing I want super clear is that tip. And most of the times when you're working with wet beads, it tends to be really flat. So I am going to come in with another bead and make sure that I really have my apex built back there. So this is when you really have to check your sides. Make sure that it is built up just right because like I said, these wet beads can be deceiving. I normally always apply my acrylic in 2 beads. So if I would have just did my normal application and didn't check, when I would have got done, this would have been a very thin nail. So always make sure that you're checking your sides. So for this one, it will also be a clear tip, but on the ring finger, I'm going to be covering that one up fully with nail art. And on this one, I only want that tip to be clear. So I'm going to come in with a bead at the cuticle area and then just bring that down past the natural nail so you will not see that and just blend it into my clear tip. Now when you're doing this, it is important to make sure that you're not covering that tip with all of the remaining powder that you blended down. So it's very simple. Just go in with your brush and make sure after you blend that you just wipe away that tip and keep it nice and clear. So next I'm going to cap this and I'm going to start where my nude color ended. So with my tip being clear and free of any product, it is completely thin. So now I need to build that up to almost match up with what I have already placed back there at the cuticle. Now once I have that done, I can look from the side and see exactly where I need to add my acrylic. It could be not enough at the tip, or it could only be where I need to apply more to build up my apex. So like I said, I'm splitting everything up, I'm checking my sides and only adding where I need to. So for this one, I'm going to come in with that same nude color that I used on the pointer. And this nude color, y'all, is a self mix. Here lately, that's pretty much all I've been using. So I'm going to start at the cuticle area and walk that bead down. Now what I'm trying to achieve is kind of that side nail art. I'm going to have my nude and then I want a cut out of the side so I can come in and add my other design. Now, I don't know what the heck I was thinking, y'all, but this was totally unnecessary how I did this. And that's what I've been talking about. Normally I can catch myself, and I did on the opposite hand. I did it a whole different way, which was easier, but this one I was doing too much. So I came in, I applied that bead, I waited for it to start drying, and then I came in and cut it. Now the design that I'm going to be doing, I'm going to be adding some marble on the side, and for that I could have just did this without cutting it, because in between the nude and the marble I'm going to be adding some foil. So there was absolutely no need for a straight cut. And like I said, on the other hand, I did it to where I just applied the nude, came in, did my little marble design, and then added the foil on top. And not only did that save me when it came to time, because you know, of course, cutting and all of that requires more time, but also when I came to file, I noticed a very big difference. The other one, the pinky that I did on the opposite hand, filed way better. So now I'm coming back over here to the pinky, and on this one I'm going to be doing a marble. So I'm using just 2 colors. I'm using a chocolate and a white, and I'm just going to apply those very wet, and then I'm going to swirl them the best I can. And with marble, I feel like there's no wrong or right way to do it. Every single time I do marble, it always comes out different, no matter what. Now, it does get easier depending on what type of powders that you use, but that's the only difference that I see when you're creating marble. And I try to keep all of my nail designs pretty consistent with each other. So whatever technique that I start out with, I will continue on. So I have another nail that I'm going to be doing marble on, and it will be the thumb. But like I said, I will pick up my beads the same way. Now, saying that though, for some reason on the opposite hand, I did it another way. So when I started out doing my marble, I always started by picking up a white bead and then picking up the darker chocolate bead next. So on the opposite hand, I did it the opposite way. I picked up the chocolate first, a very small bead, and then I picked up the white. And I noticed with that the white showed more, and that's what I preferred. I liked it better like that. So as you're working, you tend to figure out things like that. And I did it too on the last nail that I was doing marble, and I was like, oh man, I wish I would have did this starting out, and I could have did it throughout the set. It's not a huge difference, but it was something that I myself, nitpicking, liked. So now I'm coming back to this one, and I did not file this. I just made the straight cut and then I came back to it. And now I'm going to fill it in with just some marble. Now, when you're creating marble, you need room to swirl those colors. So another thing I wish I would have did is made that space a whole lot bigger, or even just started out creating my marble first and then just brought that nude color down and faded it into the marble. So that's something that I'll do different next time. Okay, so now I have everything capped, and now I'm going to come in and start my finish filing. So I'm going to start off always with my hand file. I'm going to make sure that I have a nice sharp shape, and then I'm going to come in with my e-file and smooth out the body of the nails. So now that we have all of our filing done, we're going to start our final design. So I'm coming in with my little palette, my Magpie striper brush, and then my Young Nails paint gel in dark chocolate. Well, I don't know if that's the name, that's just the color. I'll have to look and see what the name is. But I'm going to be doing a edge outline on this nail. So on that clear tip, I'm going to start where her natural free edge would be on the side, and I'm going to bring that all the way down towards the tip. And I'm starting out thin so I can build it up. Always start with less so you can add. You can't take away, but you can also add. So I'm just going to keep going over it so I can build that up, thicken it, and also build up the color. Now once I have that side done, I'm going to go to the other side and I'm going to do the same thing. So with this edge, I always do my sides first, and then at the end, that's when I will go across the tip and fill that in. Now one thing I always make sure I do is I turn her hand around and I check to make sure that both of those sides are even with each other. You do not want one side to be thicker than the other because you will definitely see see it when the client is looking from her preview. So that's why it's important to always turn them around before you cure. So for the ring finger, I'm going to be filling this one up with some 3D flowers. Now I have already applied my top coat and cured that for 60 seconds. Now I'm coming in and I'm just applying my crystal gel, and I'm going to be adding some diamonds because those will be my centerpieces for my flowers. So to apply my flowers, I'm using my 3D nail art brush from Ugly Duckling, and I'm using the colors that I used in the set, so the chocolate and the white. Now I'm going to start off by just applying those beads, and I feel like so many videos, y'all, on 3D flowers. And I have not switched up my techniques when it comes to 3D flowers. I do the same thing. So I do have a video where I go more into detail about how to make 3D flowers. So I will make sure to leave that in the bio if you guys want to check it out. So once I'm done with my flowers, I'm just going to add some diamonds there at the center of that nail. And then I'm also going to add some diamonds in between my flowers. I don't like to leave too many open spots. So I'm going to fill that in with some diamonds. So that is pretty much it, y'all, for this set. Now I do have to give props to my client. This is her design. This is not mine. She always comes in and puts her designs together herself, and I love every single last one of them. So if you are a returning subscriber, thank you so much for watching my videos. And if you are new, please consider subscribing, and also go and follow me on Instagram. And that is pretty much it for this set, y'all. So I will see y'all in another video. Bye.